Welcome to Pennsylvania in Focus. I'm Kristen Smith. Another poll shows that Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are neck and neck in Pennsylvania. Joining me today is the Center Square's Pennsylvania reporter, Anthony Hennon. Anthony, this isn't the first poll in recent weeks to show that the two candidates are neck and neck in Pennsylvania, which is considered perhaps the most coveted battleground in this year's election. So tell us more about what this particular poll is saying.
Yeah, basically, if anyone is telling you they're confident that Kamala Harris or Donald Trump will win the election in Pennsylvania, you should not trust them. Basically, every poll we're seeing is either right within the margin of error or very close. This latest one comes from Emerson College polling in Real Clear, Pennsylvania. There is a 48-48 tie between the two candidates with a margin of error of 3 percentage points. So again, it's a nail biter. It's very hard to say. It's going to come down to the wire. There's a high chance that we will not even know the result of Pennsylvania on election night, and we may need to wait a day or two, maybe more. Who really knows at this point? But basically, I mean, it's a common divide we've been seeing. The economy has been, once again, the most important topic or issue in this debate to Pennsylvania voters. In this latest poll, the economy was top issue with 50% support, followed by threats to democracy at 12% and immigration at 10%, which is pretty common with what we've been seeing elsewhere. Crime also usually pops up, but these have been crime, abortion as well. Those have kind of been the top 5 issues we're seeing, and that hasn't really changed. It's really hard to say what's really happening here. And I think it's looking like this will come down to which campaign can get out their base more than the other one. You know, here and there's a few undecided, but at least for the presidency, people generally are locked in. We're seeing a little less commitment is in the Senate race.
So this poll also had some insight into what voters are feeling just about Trump and Harris as candidates generally and, you know, their approval ratings. So can you get into that a little bit more?
Yeah, low, generally. We're looking at for current President Joe Biden has a 54% disapproval rating. Harris and Trump are, not too far behind there. Harris is at 51% unfavorable. Trump is at 52%. The only one who kind of comes out ahead in this was Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, who has a 47% approval rating. It's people are generally not super satisfied with what they're seeing from their leaders and candidates, but that is how the cards have been playing.
You mentioned that the Senate race between Bob Casey and Dave McCormick is not as firm as some of the others, and in fact, Casey's lead over McCormick has been shrinking in recent weeks. Can you talk a little bit more about those poll results?
Yeah, throughout, this election season, Bob Casey has had generally a comfortable lead for the Senate race over Republican challenger Dave McCormick, but that does seem to be narrowing. We still see a few polls where Casey is out 5-6 points, maybe more. But in this latest one, it was Casey had a 47-45 lead over McCormick, with 8% of respondents undecided. Last week, there was a poll from Muhlenberg College and the Morning Call where Casey had a 46-42 lead over McCormick. So it's getting closer. It's not quite as close as the presidential race. Some of these are still outside the margin of error. So Casey should feel a little more confident here. But I think this is reflective of, as we actually get closer to Election day, people are starting to pay attention, and so we're seeing a lot of that. Democrats usually vote for Democrats, Republicans vote for Republicans, and that seems to be what's explaining the divide between Casey and McCormick. And that race will be closer than it was expected to be 3-4 months ago.
Anthony, thanks for joining us today. Listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com.